Canada's $4.79 billion Gordie Howe Bridge, once seen as a symbol of strengthened trade ties, now faces a serious financial crisis. With its grand opening set for fall 2025, the bridge was meant to connect Detroit and Windsor, two major players in North American trade. But a recent blow from Washington in the form of Trump's 25% tariffs on Canadian-made cars has thrown the project into jeopardy. Now, Canada is faced with a fierce economic battle, one that could leave the bridge stranded as a costly symbol of a broken partnership. For years, the idea of a new modern public bridge to cross the Detroit River was seen as a bright hope for North American trade. The old Ambassador Bridge, a relic from the Great Depression era, struggled to handle the pressure of transporting roughly 25% of the $760 billion worth of goods traded between the U.S. and Canada each year. The Gordie Howe Bridge was designed to fix that problem. With 6 lanes, fast truck lanes, direct connections to major highways in Michigan and Ontario, and state-of-the-art customs facilities. The goal was clear: ease trade, save money, and streamline operations. In response, Canada's reaction was swift and resolute. Prime Minister Mark Carney condemned the move as an attack on Canada's economy and workers, vowing to retaliate. "We built a bridge for a partner and they answered by building a wall of tariffs," said one Canadian trade leader. The Canadian government quickly introduced its own tariffs on U.S. products, leading to an escalating trade war that neither side wants but both seem trapped in. The issue lies not just in the financial hit the bridge may face, but in the deeply interconnected nature of the North American auto industry. Car parts aren't simply made in one country and shipped to another. They often cross the border 6 or more times. A component might be manufactured in Michigan, assembled in Ontario, sent to Ohio for further work, and then back into Canada for final assembly. This just-in-time production system depends on smooth, tariff-free border crossings. Imposing a 25% tariff on each border crossing could throw this system into chaos, inflating costs and creating major disruptions in the supply chain. The bridge was supposed to cut crossing times by 20 minutes and save truck drivers over $1.5 billion over the next 30 years, particularly benefiting the auto industry, where parts cross the border multiple times a day. The Canadian government took on the entire $4.79 billion cost, hoping to recover the investment through tolls, estimated to bring in $70 million annually. It was a bold bet on the future of trade. But as the bridge nears completion, Trump's tariffs on Canadian cars have hit hard. The 25% tariffs, announced without warning, target not just Canadian-made cars, but also essential auto parts that pass between the two countries. The tariffs were framed by the U.S. government as a response to national security concerns and unfair trade practices, but many see them as an aggressive economic move that threatens years of tightly interwoven trade between Canada and the U.S. The damage is already becoming clear. Stellantis, formerly Fiat Chrysler, recently announced a temporary halt in production at its Windsor plant due to supply chain disruptions caused by the tariffs. Thousands of workers now face the threat of job losses, a direct result of the escalating trade conflict. Factories in Detroit and across the Midwest are also bracing for impact as the trade fight intensifies. For the Gordie Howe Bridge, this means fewer trucks crossing the border, fewer goods being transported, and less revenue from tolls. The original financial projections for the bridge are quickly becoming unrealistic. Experts warn that the bridge may end up as a white elephant, an overbuilt, underutilized structure with little economic payoff. What was once a symbol of the bright future of North American trade is now at risk of becoming a costly reminder of a failed vision. The Gordie Howe Bridge was supposed to ease the flow of goods between Canada and the U.S. It was supposed to help the car industry thrive, but with the introduction of tariffs and the looming trade war, these hopes may never be realized. If trade between the two countries becomes slower and more expensive, the bridge could become a monument to what might have been, an expensive mistake that couldn't weather the storm of political conflict. This is more than just a fight over trade policy. It's a test of North American economic resilience. The tariffs could cripple not just the auto industry but also agriculture, manufacturing, and other sectors that rely on smooth trade between the U.S. and Canada. With the Canadian economy already struggling in other areas, this new wave of economic tension could prove disastrous. As of now, both Canadian and U.S. leaders are quietly negotiating behind closed doors, hoping to find a way to ease tensions before the damage becomes irreversible. Business groups on both sides of the border, car manufacturers, farmers, and others, are pleading with their governments to back down from the brink. They know that no one wins in a trade war between two countries that are so deeply intertwined. The question remains whether both governments can set aside political posturing and find a way to resolve this crisis. Can the U.S. government be convinced to reverse its tariffs? Can Canada find a way to mitigate the damage and protect its economic interests without further escalating the situation? Only time will tell, but the Gordie Howe Bridge stands as a stark reminder of how quickly things can go wrong in the world of global trade. In the end, the fate of the Gordie Howe Bridge may not just be about its toll revenue or the number of trucks it carries. It's about the future of cross-border trade in North America, and whether countries can set aside their differences to make the system work for everyone.
If you found this video insightful, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Stay tuned for more updates and content. We've got plenty more coming your way.